Hello, everybody. Welcome to Fresco Football, the football show with a fresh take on football. It is the three of us today. It is myself, Louis Beneventi, it is Stephen McKernany, and it is Hugh Wizzy here to give you everything you need to know about the Premier League weekend and the very first one. Gentlemen, how are we? Hugh, you were very chipper when you jumped on earlier.
Very well. I mean, what more could you want than the 3 points at Old Trafford? As an Arsenal fan, it was an experience grinding out that win, but I'm just so excited to have the football back in general, man. Like every day has been good so far. So much to talk about. Looking forward to sinking our teeth into it.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
fun, mate. It's a good weekend. It's a good weekend. Lots of
well,
joy in the McInerney household. What yourself, man?
I mean, I didn't get 3 points, did I? So, and I had an absolute stinker on fantasy. After it started so well, I got let down by my own team. But, I mean, that was
Shocking.
kind of, a really, really
Who
disappointing
have you
day.
got in your team that's made it go so well at the beginning?
I'll get it up for you. I had, obviously, Salah was in there. That's a given. Van der Ven, Reinders, sort of like, so Friday and Saturday, I was like, oh, do you know what?
Great start.
We're getting off, and then obviously Sunday just fell flat on its face. Early kickoff.
Really
And
Chelsea
all that
lads.
stuff tomorrow. Yeah, I've got
Who's in
two.
it?
I've got João Pedro and Palmer. I'm hoping that they'll pick up points against West Ham.
Yeah, Palmer. Wow, they really. I've got both of them in my team as well. They really let us down.
Yeah, no, it's not great. It's not great. But obviously, guys, if you have not joined the Fresco League, we will leave a link down below for you to get involved. But we should probably start off with some players in those fantasy teams. And I want to start talking about Man City because, my God, what a game you lot had, Steve, eh?
Reinders is special. What a silly footballer. Yeah, I really enjoyed that, man. It was sort of reminded me of when City went from 16-17, Guardiola's first season, to 17-18 season. But obviously, the quality is still a lot higher than with De Bruyne, David Silva, and everyone else. But that sort of jump was one that felt dynamic and aggressive and energetic, and there was a real intensity to City, and that's what we saw against Wolves. There was still some teething issues, but the football was just direct. It was aggressive. The quality of all four goals, there was real moments of remarkable football from individuals. And the first three goals in particular, built on Tijjani Reinders. Like, the guy is a game changer, and he has this sort of insatiable hunger for scoring goals and creating them. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was just good fun to watch, and lots of little flicks and tricks, and lots of young players who have been signed recently actually playing football. And the narrative from City fans has been around the older players, the uncles, as they all call them, like Gundogan and Akanji, the unks, and all that lot playing an awful lot and staying and not actually moving on. But quite pointedly, Guardiola didn't bring him on the weekend. He brought on Kusanov and Nico O'Reilly. Nico O'Reilly, only 20 years old, he came on ahead of Gundogan, and that felt like quite a telling moment for us City fans that we are very much in the next step of the rebuild. And yeah, it was fun, man. I just really enjoyed it. I think people have been quite down on City, understandably. Lots of players leaving. If Kevin De Bruyne leaves, you're going to naturally take a step backwards. After last season, I think people have probably forgotten a little bit of what City are capable of. Some people have, not everyone, and what Guardiola is capable of. And you could really see signs of that hunger being back in this City side. And I really enjoyed it, mate. I thought it was loads of fun. The football was good. It was aggressive. Very different Manchester City as well. It was one built on physicality and a lot less control than usual. Very happy to go forward and very happy to be direct. And the pressing, yeah, mate, it was ace.
I thoroughly enjoyed it too, man.
Yeah.
Just to squeeze in, Reinders he's like four players in one.
Yeah. Stupid, isn't it? Stupid.
He's got it all, literally all of it, and it must be so exciting. I think he could be signing of the summer in general, for any team. And again, like you're saying, it's a massive loss to lose De Bruyne, but it gives you quite a few options.
Like that Shirky cameo as well, mate.
Oh my God!
Special, wasn't it?
I got actual goosebumps watching it. I'm not even lying. I genuinely did. I was like, "Oh my God, we're back, baby!" Yeah. Like that little cameo, the little flick. He strolls about like he owns the league already, and it's only 20 minutes. I know it might not do anything, but there was a real joy to the football that City were playing. The little flicks and tricks, and yeah, Reinders. look, he made that first goal with a wonderful pivot past couple of players, and they didn't cover the top to Rico Lewis. Second goal from 18 yards out with his left foot. The third goal, he makes that with a 1-2 of Oscar Bob, and then the assist. It's just, he won us the game when his Premier League debut. Like, that is not easy to do. I know Wolves aren't a great side, and they've lost a lot of great players, Cunha and Aït-Nouri playing for City. But there was that takes an awful lot of self-belief and talent, like remarkable talent, to win a game that comfortably on your own in a side as good as Man City's. And look, it won't be Kevin De Bruyne, because no one probably ever will be in a City shirt. But last season, we often lacked an X factor, and that's such a simple cliche term, but players that just win you a game, sort of out of nothing with a beautiful cross or 20-yard in the top corner. De Bruyne has done that for us. Phil Foden did it a couple of years ago and won Player of the Year. Rodri did it. All three of them, for different reasons, weren't really as involved or there last season. Foden lost his form, De Bruyne were injured a lot and older, Rodri not there. It felt prosaic and quite boring to watch at times, and this was just the antithesis of that. Reinders was just magic. Oscar Bob, that's a silly footballer, Oscar Bob. He's going to be a name that everyone's going to know about in a few months' time. Aït-Nouri looking surprisingly confident defensively. Yeah, and then seeing the young lads come on, like Kusanov, and a new signing, Nico Gonzalez, a guy who didn't get much football when he joined in January, looking way more composed and surprisingly more in tune with what Guardiola wants. Guardiola's like, with certain players, midfield, he's very whiplash, not quite my tempo. He's a little bit like that when J.K. Simmons is doing that, and that's what I always see with Guardiola. Not quite my tempo, but some of the players have got there now, and you can see it in that performance in Wolves. Yeah, I'm a giddy boy, Louis. I'm a giddy boy, Hugh. I'm very excited to see my Manchester City looking like that again, because last season was a chore at times.
With Reinders, I think Dan said it, and it kind of really surprised me, but I couldn't think of a more fitting example of a debut for a midfielder. When Dan was saying, it was a bit like watching that Fabregas against Burnley debut for Chelsea in that 14-15 season. Just the way that Reinders controlled that game, where Fabregas obviously got that amazing assist to Andre Schürrle. Reinders not only got an assist, or was so involved with the build-up as well, he swept home what was a half chance in prime midfield goal scoring territory, and already looks so comfortable in the league. Like you're saying, look, I know we're all getting a bit excited over one game at Man City here, but the way that you look, like you're saying, it just, there's something back. There's something about it, and it's a really different Pep, which is what I really like. I think when you're talking about it in the preview on Friday, the way that City have that physicality now, that wasn't something which Pep teams were built on now. And now we're seeing, Erling Haaland doing what Erling Haaland does, being fed so well by so many amazing players. Oscar Bob, I'm really excited to see more of this season, purely because obviously we were linked with him at the back end of last summer, and then he decided to obviously have the injury he did.
Joe Shields.
I was just like, all your youngsters, I'm going, which one are we going to sign next? Because
I know Joe Shields personally.
Oh, do you?
And many years ago he sat there. I've met him at the academy as Chelsea director of football. He's former City head of academy scouting, and I used to sit and watch under-18s games with him. He used to tell me, he used to put a list of players at each age group that would be the ones to look out for. 5 years ago, he was saying Nico O'Reilly, he's one of them from the under-15s, and obviously now he's with the first team. And he was waxing lyrical about Oscar Bob. A lot of them tried to sign him, hasn't he, the little bastard? So trying to take him back to doing copying was not his own homework, is it? Really, it's just taking his homework back, But thankfully you haven't got Oscar Bob, because silly footballer.
It's actually funny to think about this. It's this time a year ago, I think, exactly when I started my fantasy Premier League team with both Haaland and Bob, and
you were robbed.
I really thought I was onto something, because we'd watched a pre-season where it looked like, oh, we've got a Norwegian connection of dreams here, and a year later, here we are. He looks like him. I don't know. Is he the reason that City are happy to let Savinho go? Because at 22, he looks unbelievably composed. His dribbling is on another level, and I can imagine it's going to get seriously creative for him playing with this quality of players.
There was a quote from Guardiola as well, and he said, he didn't realize. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but the gist of it was he didn't realize how much City missed him, even though he barely even played, because of the how intuitive he is with pressing. Like he triggers the press because he's so smart, and that kind of stuff is so instinctive. There's a sort of Bernardo Silva-esque quality to him. Bernardo is an absolute dog, run and run and run. And Oscar Bob has, majestic feet, and obviously he's still relatively unproven at Premier League level. He's barely played much football, but there's just like there's understanding and of when to press or when to release the ball or when to hold it. It's just so good at such a young age with such an experience. I know he's 22 and a lot of players have played a lot, but he's a young 22. He's only got like 20, 30 appearances in the bank, where as City last season, we watched Savinho, Doku, both very talented dribblers and very talented wingers. It was a final ball often let him down, Savinho maybe to a lesser extent, but the end product wasn't always perfect. Oscar Bob, it just feels like he makes the right call all the time, and I think Guardiola's going to play him a lot. And I think Savinho, I think he's probably had his teeth knocked out a little bit by Oscar Bob. Probably Guardiola loving him in training and, picking him in the first 11s in training and so on. And I think this is going to be one for people to look out for. I don't know how much he's on FPL, by the way, but that could be a bit of a cheat code as well there, potentially. So
I've got a couple of questions to ask, because we've basically just praised the positives, but there were a couple of things which I saw which made me think. The first, I guess it is sort of still a positive, but it's like the keeper. Is it necessary for Donnarumma to be in the conversation when you've got a goalkeeper who's this good? He's so good with his feet.
Yeah.
He looks like a natural shot stopper. He didn't really parry anything. He catches everything. So that one, I'm wondering. And then the only other two places in the team where I'm like, I don't know, is like Doku and the right back position, which it's like the only place where it feels like they're forcing it a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. On the right back, Rico Lewis is he's great if City are playing really well. Otherwise, last season we were so exposed in terms of a lack of running power. Like we were poor, one of the worst, if not the worst, in the league last season for sprints and all that kind of stuff. And Rico he's tiny, he's small even by small footballer standards. He's like 5'5" or something like that. So he struggles that way, but he's fine with keeping the ball and getting forward. But you want someone much more reliable than that in terms of a defensive battle against bigger teams. And you're right, absolutely, it's a weakness of City's. Obviously Nunes is turned into a pretty decent attacking right back. He's not great, but he's functional. He's a probably 7 out of 10 right back, and he's good enough for most games. But it feels like both Rico and Nunes are good enough for most games level, but not necessarily anyone you'd lean on if you're playing a title decider, against a team of Arsenal, Liverpool quality, maybe Chelsea quality. We don't quite know that yet, Louis, but we'll come back to that. Then in goal, like James Trafford. I love James Trafford. Like I've been watching him since the academy days as well, and he's another guy that just exudes confidence. There's an element of there's mostly psychological with goalkeepers. I think you really have to believe in yourself and have this incredible self-belief. And look, this a kid who's been saying since he was about 16, I'm going to be Manchester City's number one, and he really, really, really rates himself that highly. And I respect that. I really do, because that performance at the weekend in the shadow, the massive Italian shadow of Donnarumma looming over him, and he could have had an absolute stinker. Like Claudio Bravo came to Manchester City. I know obviously we weren't playing the same way then. Established international goalkeeper and trophy winner, and had a stinker on his debut for City. And obviously it can happen. But what I'm saying, James Trafford had every reason to have a mare. Edison ill in inverted commas. Donnarumma set to come in, and he just looked like he was the biggest guy on the pitch, And obviously he didn't have an awful lot to do, but yeah, look. I'm a romantic with football. I prefer academy players over big signings sometimes, because I think the story's more interesting, and I would much rather James Trafford come back and be number one than bring in Donnarumma. And that's incredibly privileged thing to say, I'm aware, but I think the football is just, I don't know, I think it makes more sense actually. I think there's going to be teething issues with Donnarumma, and I think James Trafford he's homegrown. He literally loves the club. We've got him. He's there. And he knows how we play, and he's genuinely really good. And this kid, he gets clean sheets everywhere. He broke clean sheet records for England. Not a single goal in the under 21s. It was under 20s, was it? Under 21s. Either way, broke clean sheet records for Burnley. He did it for Bolton when he was on loan there. Clean sheets just follow him around for whatever reason, and clean sheet on his debut. So, yeah, I don't know. I think this, look, it's not necessarily a problem if you sign Donnarumma, because you're blessed with either a great young possession-based shot-stopping goalkeeper or one of the best shot stoppers in the world. So, you'd rather have two great goalkeepers than one. But I could definitely see it as something that could be maybe stick in the throat a little bit. If Donnarumma comes in and Trafford's had that debut and and he struggles a bit with the ball at his feet and we have to compromise and yeah. We'll see. But I would love to see.
I guess they're good issues to have.
Yeah, it's not like
shall we bring in this renowned match-winning goalkeeper, or should we just stick with this exceedingly good academy product who could be as good?
Yeah, Near's Bridge going to jump off it, mate. It's so hard.
I mean, just speaking of goalkeepers, I just was watching Chelsea this weekend and saw Robert Sanchez get saved by the most ridiculous call by a referee, and he's just seeing him flap at that ball when it comes straight at his face. And I'm sitting there just wanting Donnarumma more than anything else in the world. It's like the fact that you could have a goalkeeper there who could actually catch it would be quite nice. Because where I was I had a little bit of a rose-tinted glasses syndrome, or blue-tinted, going into the season where, he wins, the Golden Glove at the Club World Cup. We had a pretty decent defensive record in the second half of the season. And then I kind of forget that we have Robert Sanchez in goal. And just seeing that goal that he conceded, which should have stood, and Palace were better than us. I'm going to be very, very honest. I just the fact that you can have two keepers of the quality you do. One, by the way, at 30 million quid in James Trafford, which people would say, obviously, the goalkeeping standards is quite expensive, but in the modern day football standards is ridiculously cheap.
It'd be perfect for Chelsea, man. Like, even FRESCO probably even knows who he is as well.
This is
it. Of, the academy stuff now.
Well, we were linked with him, weren't we?
Chelsea?
We were linked with him, we put an offer in apparently, but just he chose you guys because that's where he wanted to go. So, it is what it is. But I don't know. I just.
What did you guys make of the VAR thing then? What about you, Hugh, with the free kick?
I was baffled when I first saw it, but then these are, I guess, the new laws of the game, and yeah, I'm not comfortable with it. I will be honest. It feels like every corner and free kick, people are pushed and shoved and grabbed.
Yeah.
And if we are going to start doing this at some stage, we are going to be like completely no contact. Otherwise, even like I have an issue with a hand on the shoulder and then the knack that players have of like game management going down, the first available touch. It's very difficult when you're looking at replays to differentiate between, just actual contact and real contact.
Yeah.
So, I was uncomfortable with it and I thought Palace were robbed. It was... look, there are positives that I saw in the Chelsea side. The centre back, especially, I think looks like a top talent. What's his name?
Achimpong. Josh Achimpong. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked quality, so confident, and he was, one of the challenges he slid into. Just gave his full force for this 50-50, jumps up immediately, and then goes straight into another 50-50 that he has no right to win, and walks away with the ball and the free kick. I was super impressed with him. However, I just like Palace are just something else, man. I'm just like Glasner.
Mate. Jeez,
I mean,
Adam Wharton, some player.
Yeah, the pass that he did for Mateta, that through ball. Like if he scores that, his value goes up 10 mil. Like Wharton's value goes up 10 mil. And
there's a guy who runs a coffee shop where I live. I live in a little quaint market town up north of Bury called Ramsbottom. There's a little chocolate cafe there, and the guy there who was in it was a Blackburn fan, and he's been ranting to me about James Wharton, Adam Wharton for ages. He's like, I remember him saying about 2 years ago to me, he's a newsy Dan. Obviously, he was getting carried away, but he was buzzing about him. He said he's going to be an absolute superstar, and he's probably going to be closer to right than he is wrong in terms of how good he gets, if that makes sense. Like, and this was when he was in the Championship still. He said, honestly, I know he's like, oh, you won't go near him, but he's phenomenal. Obviously the level he's reaching, and the ability that he's got. Like, if this was, I know it's such a cliche, but it's a young Spanish kid, we'd all be going mental over how good he is. That through ball, it's just it's remarkable. And Palace, like, just obviously, I should. We felt it as a City fan in the FA Cup final, but the Glasner is such an impressive manager. I actually watched City Palace when we turned it around. De Bruyne last season, it was 5-2 in the end, 4-2. I can't remember, I'm so tired. But either way, I was right behind Palace bench, and I was, most managers like this, but Glasner, there's something genuinely impressive about him. I think we touched on the idea about we were talking about Amarin last week, but I do think there's so many brilliant managers in the Premier League. But I think Glasner is, I think he's impressive. I think there's a real intensity that's admirable and energy to him, and I think he's got an eye for talent as well. And Wharton and how he's using him and Eze and so on, and Mateta, what he's done with him. I think Palace are just a really fun side, and I just I hope Eze stays for them. I hope they carry on building, because I think they could be impressive people this season.
Yeah, I think that is a big worry, though, isn't it? That you look at that side. Adam Wharton is going to go very soon.
So good.
Eze's going to go potentially this window, as is Mark Gurhey. That Palace side is just getting picked dry, and the transfer window is not that far from closing. So you kind of look at it and go, how is that all going to play out across the whole season now for them?
Because you just lock them in the room for 2 weeks, don't you? Just like...
do not leave.
Like, no, you've had no phone calls. No phone calls. Have we got the games? No, the games are abandoned. Don't worry about it.
Have you topped up your credit? No, it's all fine. You're on contract, right? Yeah.
No, you've run out of minutes, mate. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens with them. I think that that free kick, as a score in that, and yes, it was right at Robert Sanchez, and people are saying he had the sun in his eyes, whatever. The power behind it was ridiculous. Like, you blinked and it was in the net, done. And he's the type of player he is. I don't think there's actually many of those kind of silky number 10s that not only have, I think, the end product, but are fun to watch as well. I think there are that many out there anymore. And just sort of the way that he plays his football, I just think is spectacular.
Streets won't forget, as they say.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's that freedom that the players aren't often given as well. You've got to have the talent in your locker.
Earn it, haven't you?
Yeah, you've really been watching a guy who's been entrusted with doing what he's capable of. Go and win the game for us. And yeah, they're just so impressive, man. I think that they're one of the most difficult teams to beat in the league. They are clearly on the day capable of beating anybody, and there's actually no shame in getting a draw at Stamford Bridge against Palace. Sorry, with where they are right now, they know they can beat anybody, and they're playing like it.
So much quality in the Premier League, isn't there? There really is. Like, everyone, I don't know where everyone stands on this, but everyone always downplays the Premier League, and I think right now these Champions League level players at every single side, different numbers of them, but there's just quality everywhere. Like, where did Palace finish last season? Like, I can't remember exactly,
12th.
But it was definitely 12th. They're fucking brilliant. They've got so much quality. And like, go back 25 years ago, and they're top four. Like, we've not. Who knows? With the way that they play and the structure and the quality, maybe even. But yeah, it's just brilliant. I think, and we're very lucky as a bunch of fans to be able to watch players of that quality, Wharton and Mateta and Eze and whatever, bring back bombing forward and Muniz like that. And they're finishing 12th, stupidly.
I mean, it's exciting as well because they're such a good fan base as well.
Yeah.
That it's like this is. I mean, it's got to be since like they had Ian Wright that they've been this relevant. Like it's the best time ever to be a Palace fan. So riding the wave and just thoroughly enjoying it. Like I'm constantly, if I do an accumulator, I put Mateta on it. I trust these guys, and. Yeah, I can see them being a problem in cup competitions again, basically. And they're going to be someone's, banana skin, aren't they?
Well, see the eight, haven't it? Every season. Every time. Not every season, but most seasons, whenever you go Palace goes to the Etihad, something happens. Like, I think I always think that's Andrew Townsend, and it's just like...
But it was Townsend who started it, yeah. Fucker. Like,
what a goal that was. Wow.
Seared into memory, that goal. Like, we had a spell where people like that were just doing things like that against us, and but Palace, they just we going to Selhurst. We've done all right recently, but there was a period where we go there, and even if we won, it'd be a battle, a real battle. I mean, they probably just hate us because of the Guardiola song, sort of nabbing it really. But
on the flip side, I would say, we're talking about the goalkeeper, but a second ago it was what was he? Player of the tournament in the Club World Cup.
Yeah.
He seemed to have bought some favour with Chelsea fans. I don't know whether that's all gone out the window now.
It's literally what you had he had 2-3 games. Was actually he's looking all right now. He's looking okay.
Yeah.
Then he does that, and everyone goes, "Oh no, he's there still."
Well,
It's still
technically, he hasn't
there.
conceded, so you got away with that one.
Yeah.
No, but this is the
Technically.
thing. It's the most Robert Sanchez thing to happen because there's been 5 or 6 howlers over the past 2 years at Chelsea where he's then proceeded to be saved by VAR. And I'm like, that happens every year at least 2 or 3 times. So I'm looking at it, I'm going, if there's any position like Chelsea defensively, I think have proven they can be resolute. The problem is, I think, with Levi Colwill out injured, he's such a significant part of the way that we build up that if we don't replace that, I don't think we're going to be in any sort of conversation for silverware this season. I don't. Just because I
Well,
think
a minute ago as well, we were saying he's Chelsea are in need of not only having Colwill there, but then the experienced guy there as well.
Yeah,
like a
exactly.
Thiago Silva or whoever it was.
God, I miss him so much.
It's like 2 backward steps for me if you're losing, someone who they've invested so much time in with Colwill now that, yeah, it's unfortunate. But what about the signings elsewhere on the pitch? João Pedro not off to the finest start after, setting the world alight in America.
I think Chelsea's problem, and it has been for a very long time, is a low block. And Crystal Palace are so good at that. So when we can't break something down, we just tap it about. And I'm not going to lie, I'd be lying to you if there wasn't a point where I actually fell asleep in that game. There was the 10 minutes where I was on my sofa and I just woke up and went, "Oh, I missed 10 minutes."
You missed a good 10 minutes, mate. That's when
I said to my brother, he was sat watching it and he goes, "Have I missed anything?" He went, "No, not really." I was like, "Okay, I know exactly what type of game this is going to be."
How the
today."
fuck are you falling asleep? Well, what are you doing on the nights before falling asleep during a football game? Your team in the first game of the season. I've got 2 small children. I've managed to stay up, man.
Listen. I was comfy. The sofa just got really comfy, and I started dozing off. And then it's kind of
It's that like siesta time, isn't it? 2 p.m.
Yeah. See, that's it. It was my siesta, and I've been enjoying those recently. So I made the most of the situation. I didn't miss anything, so it's not a problem.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But it's. I think, yeah.
What do you think about Gittins? Sorry, he's coming in on the left hand side.
He's raw. Like I think that he's going to definitely do well. I think he's an upgrade on Madueke. I think in terms of the experience you've got in the player and the ceiling, I just think there's a much better prospect of quality there. Having said that, he's played not even 90 minutes. So, I'd like to see how he settles more into the league. I did think he got a little bit lost in the game. I think he did get pocketed a couple of times. And he's still young. So, I'd like to think that he'll do well. I think that game was crying out for Liam Delap from about minute 1. Just needed that physicality in the team to sort of really to Palace or at least pull somebody out of the game. I don't think João Pedro is that guy when it comes to physicality. Now, people, Brighton fans are talking up how he'd become this much more physical presence. Obviously, at Watford, like a really skinny little winger, has then become like a main man who kind of pulls people into play. But then I do think as well that Chelsea maybe could have set up in a slightly different way as well. There's lots of things I would have done differently, but I understand why Maresca set up the way he did because it's basically.
Can you give us one that you would have done differently?
I'd have played Cole Palmer on the right hand side.
Oh, really?
I like I said, I mean, Gittins is I think going to be a really good player, but I'd have started Cole Palmer on the right hand side. And I'd have started Pedro Neto on the left with the lap down the middle. Just purely because I think when it comes to a low block, just having somebody who could be a nuisance to the centre-backs, who can pull somebody out and maybe even pulling someone in from that left-hand side of their defence, if it gives Cole Palmer that extra little bit of space further up the pitch, I just think he'll have more of an impact. And that's what we saw against PSG. But you're not playing PSG every week. PSG weren't playing in a low block. PSG were coming out. We made the most of the space that we had, and I think that's something which Chelsea do really, really well. We saw it at the back end of last season when we play sides further up the table, teams that want to have more of the ball and actually want to bring the game to us because of the quality in both sides. Chelsea can actually punish teams because we exploit the space really well. We're a great side in transition. But the problem is when we have the ball, we're good with the ball, we're solid when we have more possession, but it's just that final little bit to open everything up that we're still struggling with.
I think it's a
But
slight
again,
quality issue. Not that the players aren't good. I still think they're incredible. And I don't. I'm genuinely being honest. They're not like being. I don't think Neto, Gittins, Pedro, any of them are close to like truly world class, if that makes sense. And not that they have to be. Many great teams have players who are on that level, but I think there's quite a few that don't touch that. I think Chelsea are still lacking a little bit of improving. I would say, title winning experience. Essentially, you go back to Chelsea a few years ago, and you have a partnership with Thiago Silva and Rudiger. That's as good as it gets, really. That's a brilliant partnership. And Chemapong and Chalobah are very good players, but they're not that level. They're not
no,
that
yeah,
level.
yeah, yeah.
Reece James is still starting. Do you trust him to be fit? I don't know, but he's not the level he was a few years back. And referencing maybe when you beat us in the Champions League final, and that's Chilwell was fit then, great. James and Rudiger, Silva, that back line is ridiculous, and you got Kante and Jorginho ahead of them, and I think the quality, of the side, a few years back was much stronger. Even then, you weren't necessarily always in the conversation for the title. So I think Chelsea are a really good side, but I think there's a lot of potential there, and the problem with potential is you sort of need someone to show you how it's done, and I think there's an element of Cole Palmer's been asked to be that guy, and he's still a kid, man. Like he's still as good as he is. There's still an awful lot of development for him to go to reach his final form. And Chelsea, I think you're going to have games like this where you've got that obvious inherent talent and these great, instinctive footballers. We've got a bit of magic, but João Pedro needs to see what it's like to win at Champions League level or be in a title race. He needs to learn that, and same with Neto and same with Gittins and so on. So I think Chelsea will probably keep hitting these little roadblocks, and I think we talk about low block. It comes down to just people who know how to deal with it. You need a couple more Cole Palmers maybe, or just time. And I know it's easy to say, but the best we've been there.
Are you handing any more out? Have you got any more?
Yeah, well, Joe Shields probably knows. Definitely, he's scouting over the 12s as it probably is.
Xavi Simmons is on his way apparently, isn't he? So I think that'll be.
I mean, I've got. I just think, what you're saying, I really agree with, Stephen. It's like the experience of proven winners, or even just the more aged
we can reference
players
our own sides, can't we, as well, where they've been and what they've done. And you think of I go, Mahrez was rotating with Sterling, that's the level. And with all due respect to Gittins and Esteval, they're not there yet, and they're not going to win you a Premier League. And that's not to criticise them as footballers. It's just. It's a big ask. It's a big ask.
It's also the club policy, isn't it? This is how you're trying to make money, how the business is working these days. They're all kids. They're all, with the potential of massive sell-on value. And it seems that they're quite strict on the structure, to be honest, because no one is coming to this club who's over 25 years old. Look, I really like someone like Esteval. I think he's super exciting. He's got that confidence that just makes me believe there's a star in there. He wants to get the crowd going, whereas I feel like Gittins was a little bit intimidated by the atmosphere, by the size of the task ahead of him, really. Here we are, let's go, Premier League football, whereas Esteval is like, I'm here, give me the ball. It's quite interesting with the striker as well. I don't know who I prefer. I guess it's, situations where you'll lean towards one or the other, but I like Delap and the way that he forces the issue, is very direct. And it's almost like, I feel like with Arsenal, we've got a Kai Havertz thing where he can bring other people into play, and there's a generosity about him. Whereas I like my
there is, because he doesn't score goals. That's why.
All right, we'll get there. But I like my strikers to be selfish and to hit shots, get them off. I want you to have one thing in mind. And I just feel like with Chelsea, it's such an experiment that maybe it will work, but it's more likely that a couple of these guys are going to need more time, and you're going to need more experienced heads to come in and just level the field or
Has
calm
there ever
people
been a
down.
great striker that looks for a pass first? I genuinely, as a sort of side note, what you're saying there, Hugh, I don't. Every great striker I think of, they take the shot, and I can't really.
Yeah.
I mean,
best strikers score lots of goals, man. That's and to do that, look, Henry was quite generous. He loved a little assist, but even then,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, he's a unicorn of a football as well. So even then,
yeah,
it's not a fair comparison. I think of my reference
and
is Sergio. He just shot from any angle and twat it in the top corner.
that's
So
it.
like, it's ridiculous, and like that's what you want, isn't it? A bastard striker should be bastard.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's like sitting there and being able to all of us rattle off all these strikers. Like, I could talk about Drogba, I could talk about Gudjohnsen, I could talk about Hasselbank, could talk
What's that
about.
meme about blokes naming
Okay.
footballers? Just
Oh yes,
I generally want to do a video
there
all
is
day. Just
because
blokes
there's
naming
genuinely
footballers.
just anyway a whole episode I think we can do.
Amir
With, like, the
Zaki,
international
you know
break,
what I
which
mean?
is
When
going to
you're
be
that
that.
over a kid.
Amir Zaki. Bloody hell. I just don't think there's that quality of player out there anymore. I think you're talking about how every team has a Champions League quality player. In terms of the elite level, if you were to go out and sign somebody, the pool is either so small or is completely dried up in terms of the quality of the player that's out there. Like I looked at the lap, comes in, double figures in the Premier League last season. I like him because he's physical. Like I said, he's a bastard. That's what I like about him. I like that he's a presence in the box and he's going to be a nuisance. But then at the same time, I don't think he has a link up that João Pedro has. So then you're looking at that going, okay, well, who's going to start? How is he going to play? And then Chelsea, it's great to have these options. I feel like this season's going to be the Mourinho quote of 13-14 of the little horse. This is the year of the little horse. Just let it grow, let it do its thing. I think for me, as long as Chelsea are hitting 75, 80 points, because the last time we did that was when we won the league with Conte. So I'm going, okay, well, if we're hitting that, we're getting closer to City, we're getting closer to Arsenal, we're getting closer to Liverpool, then that's a step in the right direction. Add maybe a nice domestic trophy to that, because we've not won one of those for a long time either. It'd be nice sort of tie it all together. But I think that team will learn winning through that, and they'll get better. But
It's a title charge
these
over them, mate.
couples-
Already one game in.
I never said we were on for the title. I'm very happy. I'm very happy us kind of
Look,
watching from
I
the
can't remember what you
distance this
said,
year.
but I swear you said you're going to win the league by an absolute romp. I don't know. I'm making it up. But...
No. But you know one thing: the last time Chelsea got a 0-0 draw in the opening fixture in the Premier League was the 11-12 season, and we all know what
there we
happened
go.
then. So that's it.
That
Looking in the
game
Champions
15
League.
years ago obviously is an incredible omen for what's going to happen now.
We had a bald Italian manager at some point in that season. We drew 0-0. It's a given. We're going to win the Champions League.
You can never argue with a bold manager, so that's facts. So unfortunately,
that is
we're
true.
fucked.
But we should probably move on to managers with really, really thick hair that doesn't move, and Mikel Arteta. And let's talk about that United Arsenal game. But before we get into that, Hugh, I want to know what side of the debate you're on.
What's the debate?
Declan Rice as captain or Martin Odegaard as captain?
Do you know what? This is probably not the answer you're expecting, but neither are my captain.
Oh, really?
No, neither. I feel like whilst we've got Gabriel Magalhaes in the side,
that's the captain.
He is the captain. Yeah, he is a man's man, and I feel like Declan Rice is growing into a man, but he's not there yet. He's quite an immature, cringe-ready.
He's a boy, isn't he, Declan Rice? I agree.
Yeah. So I do see what Tony Adams is saying. There is, there's clear evidence that, well, he has traits that Tony would probably see, himself in Declan. He is English for a start. I think that is something that he holds quite important or quite dear to his heart. I think that he is a much more, archetypally physical player that, again, he can sort of see himself in. And I don't know if the captain's armband really carries the same weight that it once did. To the point where, I think it's actually been a major distraction, this conversation. I'm not sure that Odegaard, how do I put this? I'm not sure that he should have a guaranteed starting place at times, never mind the captain's armband. I feel like it's one of the only positions in the team where we've really sort of allowed him and Saka, because they work well together and they've been so good, where there's just no question that they're going to be starting. And I feel like we should be moving into a position now, or we are really with the rest of the team, where there are options. If you're not working out, we have another. If this isn't the style that we need today, we have the other. Which is one of the main reasons why I was so keen to see Eze brought in, because I think he would offer us something just so dynamic and so different and direct that it really does counter what Odegaard does, which a lot of the time is subtle. And while, look, we were talking a second ago about how good Chelsea are at attacking spaces, the transition is probably the weakest part of Arsenal's game to me. And, you know, whilst there is so much that I can see that's positive, even from the game that we just watched where there wasn't much attacking intent, we are actually creating quite a lot of opportunities on in the transition and are just not able to execute with the final delivery. And that is, I think it's for a multitude of reasons, one of which we're just not used to it. We are used to this sort of crab approach of suffocating teams now, where
the crab,
you know, yeah. And I feel like it was really evident yesterday, day for yesterday, where we were seeing the wrong runs made by both guys out wide, really not stretching the space at all and offering Odegaard a couple of options, which he isn't fully able to precisely execute quite a lot of the time. So look, it's a just go back to the captaincy question. It's one that I'm not sure is as important as people think. But if I'm to believe Arteta, everybody is keen on him being the captain. And as far as, you know, where we were a few years ago, I find it a bit more understandable because even though he was still young, he had much more experience than most of the players in the team. He'd been, you know, picked up by Real Madrid as a teenager, and the expectations on him would have been far greater than other people who were in the squad already. So I can see how they've sort of grown together with him as captain. I would say we're probably, especially if you don't win something this year, moving to a stage where he's not going to be sooner rather than later. And
is
that
it a
could be...
managerial thing, by the way, or is it a club thing? Is it like a vote thing?
It's a vote thing.
Okay.
Yeah, players are voting. And, you know, maybe that is in support of him, given the conversations that have arisen recently. But they've made that choice. I'm fine with it. I don't really have an issue because I actually think that for a while now in football, you've had more than one leader on the pitch. You could potentially have 4 or 5 captains or a leadership unit who, you know, they get together for meetings, they call the meetings, they run the meetings. I would like that to be the elder statesman in the side. I would certainly like that to be the more physical of the players that we have available, if only because, you know, the old school part of me looks back to, you know, players in the dugout like Keane and Vieira going head to head. And I know the game isn't quite the same anymore, but I like the idea of you looking over, seeing my 6'4" captain and thinking twice about how you're going to deal with this.
Yeah. Well, you're not scared of Odegaard, you know?
I don't know if he has the same impact in that way.
I mean, Declan Rice 6'3", but I just see him doing that in my head. I'm like, come on, man, I can't take you seriously.
He looks like the sort of geezer who bought Hollister and Abercrombie in the early 2010s. That's what he strikes me as. He's that sort of guy. He's a cracking player. Don't get me wrong, but I agree with you. Like, I think your captain has to be that person who has that physical presence. Like
we did have David Silva captain once, but he's David Silva. It was the end of his career. You know, like that's the thing. It's like David Silva. He was bald as well, so he had like a bit of an aura about him then as well at the same time. But you know, like David Silva, like it's different, isn't it? When you're David Silva and you've won a lot, blah blah blah, etc., and you're a World Cup winner, and I think he's about to retire, and he's the statesman because he's David Silva. And I think you can have a quiet guy as your captain, but they have to be. I don't know. It has to be special and it really means something. I think you're probably onto something that, like, Gabriel to me is that's a captain there, you know, old school captain, and make an awful lot of sense. What did you think of someone on Twitter made me laugh, Jacques Lesnar, which made me laugh because I'm not a football slander name, but
Jacques Lesnar, I've not heard that one before.
That amused me. I'm not gonna lie.
I've not seen that. Jacques Lesnar.
Talking about the SmackDown.
I've just clicked who he's talking about as well. That took me a minute.
Yeah, you know, look, this is.
I thought it was fine, by the way, for what it's worth. It's just. Yeah.
It's an exciting time to be an Arsenal fan for me. We've bought in a £60 million striker to score us more goals, and somehow, but some way, we've paid the money for this guy who scored more goals in Europe than anybody in existence, right? Or more goals in world football last year than anybody. And for the first time in 3.5 years, over 100 games of football, he hasn't had a single shot.
Wow.
Right? 1 to 66 it was for him to have a shot. 1 to 66.
1 to 66.
Right. So I'm just like,
Jesus.
how have we managed to do this?
The sun to come up tomorrow is like shorter odds than that, you know?
Right?
Like...
We have somehow managed to alienate this guy. And the only explanation I've got is that we're just not used to it. We just don't understand what he's offering.
No.
I'm not sure that the formation really is working for him just yet, especially because Kai came on and within 5 minutes, he looked like he had more of an impact. He's bringing people into play. Admittedly, zero intention of taking a single shot either. So we've literally got 130 million pounds worth of striker with just no shots. but I'm not bothered about how Arsenal have won this game. That's the main thing here. And I do think that this is probably not the best game to judge on, these new players.
It's Old Trafford United, isn't it? It's always the same, isn't it?
Right. You should be expecting it to be a dogged affair. Our record there, despite the fact that they've been shocking in the last few years, is still pretty horrible. 4 wins in like 30 attempts is disgraceful. And it just makes me think, like, wow, time has moved on where United are so irrelevant in comparison to where they were that, I'm seeing people posting stats of like Arteta's record at Old Trafford, but the context says something quite different. And it is, the two sides are in just completely different stratospheres right now. Our expectations are very different. And I'm so blessed to have lived long enough to be in a situation where not only are we getting the right call, or at least the call that I want when Saliba brings down Cunha in the box, or it looks like it could have been a penalty. Definitely a contentious decision that was up for debate. But we're also in a situation where we used to be you. We used to be the team that played you off the park, beautiful football, creating umpteen more chances and coming away with nothing after getting bullied on the pitch. And now we flip that completely and everybody has an issue with it. As far as I'm concerned, we're capable of being multifaceted this side. They're much more than capable of the dogged war that we've just witnessed.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that we can play a much prettier style of play where we, do create more. However, I can see why people are worried because, we've bought a striker in who's cost a lot of money and we've bought Madueke in. I'll tell you what, before we go anywhere, Louis, mate, wow, you sold us a right dud from the looks of things there.
What did I tell you? What I told you, I said, you're going to watch him, he's going to drive you up the wall, but there's going to be that one moment where you're going to love him. You're going to be like, oh, he's so good. He's arrived, he's here. And then the cycle starts again. It's like he relies on
27.5 million, isn't he? Like, what are we doing with these 55 million players that should be worth half of that?
All weekend, I've been watching 50-odd million pound players, whether it was Gittins, Elanga, Madueke, and it's like, we need to rejig the valuation.
Someone's just got lost or something, haven't they? Like, accidentally put it on double price or whatever. Like Reinders, that's a 50 million pound. Well, it used to be a 50 million pound player. But it's just look. He's
how much did you pay for Reinders actually? Because was
50, it 50 million? That's basically something like that.
That's mental.
Shirky was 27, I think.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. What is going on here? What are the added extras that City are able to offer that we can't talk about?
We've just paid for his great grandson to go to university. You know what I mean? So like, we're putting all the whole entire family through. I'm looking forward to Ryan Shirky Junior. He's some player. I can't wait for him. So already got a slot in the academy.
The main thing I'll take away from just to sort of wrap up on the Arsenal, right, is I am at the stage as an Arsenal fan now where I'm okay with whatever you do as long as you come away with a result. That's the stage I'm at. It's like final year of you can do as you please now. And I am going to entrust him. I am going to give him the opportunity to, prove a lot of people wrong. It's probably an unpopular thing to say, but I want him to win the league. Obviously I want my club to win the league, but I would like to see him rewarded and given some credit because I feel like we're right at the precipice right now. And, could really go one of two ways, but to keep a clean sheet at Old Trafford, for a long time, that would have been a miracle. Coming away with 3 points it has just opened my eyes basically to, one, the negativity that surrounds the club and how much it sells. 2, how old I am, because what I'm seeing is 20, 25-year-old guys online who clearly haven't seen Arsenal win a major trophy of any significance and don't understand what this means, how important it is to be able to go there and turn up like this and show that you can dig in. So, look, it's a crazy time to be an Arsenal fan, if only because it is really now or never for Arteta, and there are a lot of people who are ready to jump the gun on that. But there were promising signs there. I think that we definitely haven't seen the best of Zubimendi, who I thought was slightly out of sorts actually at times. He looks a little bit panicky, where I was expecting his decision-making to be, elite. He looked like he was rushed into some strange passes. I do think that Saliba has not been quite as good as he was for a year now, really. And there is improvement that we can see from these players. Declan Rice, probably his worst game in an Arsenal shirt, barring his debut, or barring the game he scored the own goal against West Ham. And of course, our new £60 million striker literally had no shots. So, having come away with a win.
25 years ago, by the way, you spent that much money to play and you didn't get a shot. Football's changed, hasn't it? There's no way an expensive striker doesn't get a shot. Even the cheap striker gets a shot 20 years ago. It's just different.
It's just insane, isn't it? Yeah. I think there is something to do with the way that we have approached the game. Obviously, the intention, I don't think, is really there, but to catch them on the break. And what I was trying to say before is we are really bad in the transition. Very bad. It's actually woeful, the amount of... I think there was something like 13 potential breaks where we could have made stuff happen, and every time we are losing the ball or giving it away. Well, the pass is just off and sending him out wide instead of directly through. So there's lots of room for improvement, but to have started off at Old Trafford and put United back into 15th is great.
Gyökeres will come good. That's the thing which kind of worries me, because there were signs. Like, just alone, the physicality didn't seem to be a bit of an issue for him at all. He was dealing with that well. He obviously wasn't bringing people into play like Havertz was, but that's all Havertz can do. You're like probably stage 4 in the Kai Havertz grieving process. That's kind of that point where it's like,
well, we can relate. This is a very relatable topic for us, so let's just do it. I mean, I have gone through the various stages with Kai. The first stage was he was on Fraud Watch on one of my shows every single week. He was Donkey of the Year, and because his favourite animal is donkeys, I have no problem with putting pictures up of him, with the donkey. And then, lo and behold, to my absolute shock and horror, I've woken up one day and we've actually signed him. So now he's an Arsenal player. I'm buying in. I'm giving him a chance. And look, I've never been convinced. That's the honest truth. He is, to me, he's much more technically gifted, actually, than Gyökeres will ever be. I'll say that much. But he doesn't have a killer instinct. He is not clinical. And I don't think that he's going to discover either of those two attributes. And as a result, he is useful. He is, he's got no problem getting involved in the nitty-gritty, causing a scene, winning free kicks, little touches off like Giroud used to do. But he doesn't have the near-post finishes that Giroud had. He's not as good in the air as Giroud was. He's not got a scratch on Giroud's. Look at Giroud's goals. Even now, he's just signed for Lille, I think. First game. He's taken it on his chest, turned round and spun a volley into the top corner. His goals are unbelievable, and I don't see that happening with Kai. But, he is useful. So
not handsome either. So
no matter. Yeah. So what are the stages of grief with Kai? Because I feel like I've gone through all of them and I've just sort of accepted that he is what he is.
Anger, so I'd say like...
Your acceptance, that's what you're at. Your acceptance.
You're there. You're fine.
You're fine now, mate. You're good. You're in the clear. So...
You're just like, what? Like, is what it is with him now. Like, I
Therapy
think
with you.
You love a jingle, don't you, Steve?
I do love a jingle. I can't help it.
I think so. With Kai Havertz, kind of, you had that moment when if you go through when Chelsea got him, we signed this unbelievable talent. Like he's where Florian Wirtz is now, right? I think that's the best example you could say. It's like you got a player there which was unbelievable in the Bundesliga. Everybody wanted him. You know, I remember speaking to Chris Pajak about it, and he was like saying that he felt like Kai Havertz was the heir apparent to Bobby Firmino. Like he was gutted that Liverpool didn't get Havertz and we did. And you looked at when he came into that Chelsea team, you just couldn't figure out where he plays. So you just said, for example, he's great at linking up. So you maybe play him as a striker who links up. And, well, no, he's not great because he can't finish. Okay, so what is he? Is he a false nine? Oh, well, no, not really, because his link up's good, but it's not great. Like, it doesn't really bring too many in. There's not too many options. Okay, well, let's put him into midfield. Well, he doesn't have the physicality for midfield, so you don't know where he sits and how he does that. So then what's happened now is, I think, that with Chelsea, that kept getting worse and worse and worse. He obviously scored the winning goal in the Champions League, which gave him a massive, massive grace period, about 2 years. Then that last season with us, or second last season where Lukaku kicked off, he just kept coming in. Obviously, was performing better than Lukaku was, so Chelsea fans were fine with it. It's the last season where he had a face like a slapped arse the entire time. Clearly didn't want to be there. Was just moping around, sort of like connecting play, doing whatever. People got sick of him. And then he's obviously gone to Arsenal. Arsenal fans have got going through that process of, well, we don't know where he plays, but he's good at this, but he's good at that. He'll have a moment. People will get happy. Football fans are fickle, so all of a sudden he'll be the best thing in the world again. And then the thing that's really got me, which is the added stage of grief that I've seen with Arsenal fans on Twitter, is they've made up a position with the false eight. So I'm like, whatever a false eight is, like that's just like mental to me that
was
is a position.
De Bruyne with when he had Guardiola, when he had De Bruyne and Silva, they were false eights. Like, two of them essentially was just box to box midfielders. He had a number 6, but they're both David Silva and De Bruyne were both going forward as a 10 equally, both getting back and defending essentially. But they were just eights, both. It's just 2 8s, but who could go forward basically. But yeah,
I actually hate what football's become. I hate it so much. Oh, see, I saw someone.
Does it?
Oh no! So there was someone who there was a video of Mikhailo Mudryk that did the rounds last year, where he hit the ball with technical empathy. I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, do me a favour. Like, people just make up words now. Like, listen, if you want to be a tactico, fine. Just get off my timeline because you don't add anything to my conversation. Any actual footballer you speak to, if you go, yeah, so we need to be in the false eight role, doing this, and doing this in the trequartista, they'll go, shut the fuck up and tell me what you want me to do. It's no actual footballer is actually spoken to like that unless it is Pep. Like it's that sort of stuff. Where it's a massive issue of mine. I hate it so much. But anyway, apart from that, we'll go back to Kai Havertz.
Shouting at the clouds.
That's how I feel all the time. I'm 27 years of age, Steve. I got referred to as a throwback, and it's like the whole thing is just doing my
secretly like, 47. Yeah.
Oh. I still can't believe that. That was a moment. But yeah, no, Kai Havertz is just not. He's a good technical footballer. He like, I reckon, like, he finishes his career, like, he'll be really good at futsal, or be good at like Baller League or some shit like that. You know, that's where you'll find Kai Havertz. He's nothing special, but people build him up like he's like this unbelievable player, and I don't understand why Arsenal fans keep doing it, because everyone can see he's just an all right player. Like, he's nothing special. But thank you so much for 60 odd million quid.
Hope he proves you wrong. I mean, look, he's working on himself. He looks like he's bulked up, and some people think that will be the difference maker. We'll see. I guess, you know, he's certainly got kick up the arse with the competition that's been added in Gyökeres, and maybe there is a role for either of them to come and finish the job off or get it done. You know, I think to his credit, he did pretty much that. I don't feel like he was sent on with, you know, the intention of doing anything except running the game down, winning a few free kicks and whatnot. So yeah, good job. But look, let's talk about United for a second. Who are going to be upset in their feelings because, you know, they did play very well and they do have some exciting additions. Can I just excuse myself? I need to go to the loo. Sorry.
Is that a metaphor?
No. Quite literally. Sorry.
Yeah, they were better, weren't they? They were better.
Wow.
They were just, yeah, they were Cunha in particular. Annoyingly, I mean, you don't know how far it'll go because it's the first game that they've had at Old Trafford and so on, and Arsenal does mean a lot to them. But they'll be happy with the new guys in particular. But Matheus Cunha, that bombarding maverick of a footballer that United are going to really enjoy. You know, lots of pace and lots of aggression.
Yeah.
Hugh obviously agrees. Don't say anything if you agree. Yeah, he agrees, of course. They obviously challenging for the title right now. They should have battered Arsenal. You know, Arsenal shambles. Terrible Arsenal. Achieved nothing. No opposition there.
I'm still getting over Jock Lesnar. I still can't believe when I.
Do you know the other one I saw? I would never take Sean Wright Phillips slander because I love the guy, but I saw what was it? Sean Wright Frimpong or something like that. I saw which I hadn't Frimpong with the PH as well, which was good. I was like, I like that. That's good. I hadn't really considered how similar he is to Sean Wright Phillips. Actually, very similar player, but that's a good thing in my opinion. But anyway, but yeah, United they were good. I don't know how much will happen, or they'll stay there because United do that all the time, don't they? They have the odd good game here and there. Where the players step up and then they'll crumple, sort of like Everton, you know, and then struggle. But Mbeumo and Cunha look good, man. And Dogu was having good fun on the left, bombing forward. It was a reasonable intensity to United, and they definitely were the better side, you know. And obviously, you know, Hugh's right to say the only thing that matters is that they won. But I think United, they will take an awful lot from that.
I agree. I still stand by what I said in the Premier League preview. I do think United are going to be good this year. I think that there is something about the way they set up in that game. You could see it as well. They looked far more confident. They looked more assured in the way that they played their football. I do just think that United are going to offer something more. They're not going to hit the top four. They're not going to get a Champions League. But I just think the way that they're just so comfortable and they looked pretty good. I think that they're going to do all right this year. Hugh's face completely disagrees with that.
I just realised what I walked into. I was just
you have no idea what you walked into.
It's just
no. Do you what do you think of United then? Away from the how much was that United versus Arsenal? How much was that United are better with the new players?
Good question. I think they flattered to deceive. I'm constantly impressed by Mbeumo's strength. His first touch is great.
I thought Cunha looked good as well. I thought he was a lot of power.
Cunha was lively, very energetic. You know, he was only denied, especially once, by a top save from David Raya. Wow, that was just I don't even know how he did it.
So good.
Yeah, that was game-changing moment there. However, you know, those players have been brought in to score goals. What we've been hearing all summer is the incredible statistics that they've carried with them over the last season, and they didn't do the job. And whilst I'm hearing you saying that they'll grow into it and it looks like it's going in the right direction, I think people are overestimating that, actually. I don't believe in their midfield. That's the first thing. I don't feel like there is going to be enough energy there, with especially teams that, you know, I feel like United will probably improve their results against top sides this season. Where they'll struggle, I reckon, continue to struggle, is against the others. The rest is where I don't feel like they're going to continuously get the job done to get them to where people think they should be again. And whilst, you know, in our preview, I was saying, where did I say? 12th? Yeah. I think. I'll give them 12th to 8th now. 8th is the maximum that I think you're going to get out of United this season, unless they bring in a new goalkeeper, because that's the reason that Arsenal won that football match. That moment of madness. He slapped the ball into his own net. That's literally what happened. I don't know what was going through his head. I don't know whether it's Saliba just in front of you that put you off, or I'm not sure what was happening, but they need a new goalkeeper, in my opinion, even though he was incredibly defensive when he was asked about him. And the midfielder is key. in the game, I actually think Casemiro played well, but he does not have the legs to do this for the whole season, and they will get found out. So, it's exciting. We're back, new faces. I was probably most impressed with the kid they've got at the back, Yoro, who he's a breath of fresh air, I think, actually, and he could play for anyone. He's very comfortable on the ball. There's obviously growing to do, but he's 19 years old. And
still 19, wow, he's a baby.
It's astonishing, man. He's played for a minute already, So I think he's very exciting. But they started with Mason Mount, who's still wearing the number 7, and I'm sure you would attest to this, that it's a bit of a joke, really, at this stage. I'm struggling to take it seriously when you can look past the number, but historically that number is significant. And
I agree. I think numbers shouldn't be just given to anyone. I think they should be earned.
I just can't. Yeah, I'm baffled as to how that's managed to continue. So, look, I do actually feel for him, because I know he's had a hard trip. It's been a rocky road, but I remain unconvinced about United, even though they were the better side on the day. They played the more attacking football and should have won the game. I don't believe. No, I don't believe. I'm not Ruben Amorim's biggest fan. I think he's got to be under more pressure than any other manager in the league, personally.
More than Arteta?
100%. 100%.
I don't know.
Well, look, you're putting faces, but let me
tell
you something, right? The fan base and the club think about things, and this is with every club, they think about things very differently, in general anyway. Arsenal Football Club, exactly that, where fans are expecting it to be Premier League or Champions League or death. Yeah? You will hang him at the end of this season if we don't win it. I think that's what people are. Realistically, I'd say the club are pretty happy with the progress that they're seeing. We're in the Champions League semi-finals. Regardless of where they are now, the victory, the coup that is beating Real Madrid convincingly, the progress that has been made in becoming a title challenger. And I know we can do banter of second, and falling short and buckling and whatnot, but ultimately you're there, and that is what they were asking of him. And I'm convinced that they'll be of the opinion that if you just keep rolling the dice, we will end up winning it. And I think that they will want to win it with him. So I just think fans and where the club are actually two different places. And Ruben Amorim is on thin ice. He's spent over 200 million. You've had a pre-season. You've won 15, I think it is, out of 28 games as Manchester United manager. That's 27 points from 28 games. That is inexcusable.
Yeah.
And we are running out of time for you to do the whole, everyone's against us thing. It's slightly tired to me now. So I know people will be patient with him, and people want it to work, and they are very anti the board, so they will always side with the manager, I think. But I'm shocked that he's been able to get away with it for this long even. So I think he's under pressure. And if they don't turn their next few games into points, people will start asking questions.
Yeah, Arteta, as long as he finishes top 4, he's safe. He's not going anywhere. I mean, some of my fans might have it, but it'd have to be something spectacular for Arteta to be sacked from that point onwards. And presumably it's not like a terrible fourth, you know what I mean, or we're 25 points off the title or something like that. Amorim has to just get United up challenging for Europe. But I don't think, like, if they're averaging halfway through the season, they're starting 11th, he's not safe, not even close. Like, at that point, at that point, something's gone wrong. Sesko's not scoring goals or something like that. One of the players, is moaning to the press about something, which always happens. He's doing these quotes about, we have to learn to suffer again or something like that. At that point, he ain't going to wash anymore. There's no way they'll stick with him. So I think, he's under substantial pressure, because I think Arsenal, as you were saying, they would see his time as still a success even without the trophies. At the board level, I don't think anyone could argue he's been a success yet, Amorim, at all. No one, not even Mum could. So.
Don't get me wrong. I think he's impressive. Right? I think he's impressive. He's obviously intelligent.
Yeah.
He's a good speaker. He says all the right things basically, but I haven't seen anything. And, you know, I get it. I do get it. It takes time. You've got to, flush the system of all the players and, the bad apples and whatnot. And he's definitely had a few of those. But now's the time they've got to kick on. And I think a lot of people seeing them outperform Arsenal and still not getting anything have started to buy into, oh, this could be going somewhere. I'm not on board with that just yet.
No, they did that a lot last season, and they had the
Yeah.
spells where they did it. I mean, it's just United against Arsenal, but then they'll play Palace and get beat 4-0. You know, like, so we'll see. We'll see until we have a reason to believe otherwise.
Yeah, well, we'll keep tabs on that, of course. We will wrap it up there, though, gents. Obviously, we can talk about the other clubs. We'll quickly say Spurs did all right against Burnley. Liverpool came back. Fred Church scored his first goal in a year for Liverpool, and they won the opening day of the Premier League. But, we don't need to talk about that.
What did you call him? Fred?
Fred Church. Yeah.
Fred Church.
You translate his name. Federico Chiesa means Fred Church.
I had no idea what you were on about then, mate. I was like, who are you on about?
Yeah. That's great.
It's like,
he seems so likable, man, doesn't he?
He is. My cousin actually played with him at Italy under-17s. I'm like, he's adamant. He's one of the best footballers he's ever seen. I'm like, when I saw him go to Liverpool, a little part of me died. A little part of me died because I wanted Fred Church at Chelsea. I wanted Federico Chiesa playing on the left wing at Chelsea so badly, and then it just never happened. But sad times.
No, yeah, he's 3 or 4 years too old for you these days.
Yeah,
not for you personally. For use Leonardo DiCaprio shit going on there. Yeah, Liverpool looked decent. Yeah, Bournemouth gave me some trouble.
Do you think I mean, I don't know. There's a little bit of me which says that they're the ones to beat still, which
it hurts me so much.
That goal from Atikiki, I can't pronounce it. That reminded me of Fernando Torres. The way he moves, the way he's got that laconic glide and like low leggy and sort of stumbles through people with deceptive sort of tall pace, if that makes sense. And like that doesn't make any sense. Tall pace is not a thing, but you still know what I mean. So maybe it is.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, he's a lot quicker than he looks like he should be.
Yeah, and he looks good. The two good goals in the 2 games I've seen to him so far. He looks like a player. Yeah. And
I just get the feeling that is, people have been looking at like Alexander Isak as like the guy. He's like the one that I know. Have they got a guy here? He looks like he could be. He's technically better, man. He brings people into play more. I don't know. He looks like a top signing. It's exciting, and there's a lot to envy about Liverpool right now.
So I'm not bothered. We got Reinders, man. I'm happy. We're fine.
I know you're not bothered. But,
we got João Pedro, mate. Yes, I'm not bothered. We've got Tosin Adarabioyo. Who needs Alexander Isak? Like,
well, look, they played that game without Gravenberch in the middle as well. Remember?
Sure.
So I think they're the ones to beat. Still, they look defensively more solid with Frimpong. And it's just that kit as well. The kit, I've just started seeing the kit. Bloody hell, is that a title-winning kit? It could be.
It is, isn't it? There's a title-winning kit.
It's 0607 F50 kit in it. That's what it looks like.
When we won the treble, it was a throwback to a classic like Colin Bella in 1970s kit that all the City fans loved before we even started the season. So then we did our special thing in it, and like good kits. I swear it makes a difference. I swear it does. Like, I think the players, the whole like if you look good, you feel good kind of thing. This sounds really silly. My son got a haircut. He's 2.5 years old today, and he's had long flowing blonde hair, and he cut it off, and he looked like a little boy. He was more confident. We could see it. Me and my wife were laughing because he was going up to people. Like you could tell he like enjoyed his haircut. And, like if that's what happens to a toddler, imagine what it happens to an actual adult when they're wearing like this kit looks fucking mint. There definitely be an element of that when you feel good. And City have got a fucking luminous rain covered kit. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
God, what are we doing? I hope we never wear that.
This looks like it's like the Arsenal had that ordnance survey, like neon green and like black muck going on. I'm like, oh, good Lord, we're not winning anything in this, lads. What are we doing?
In terms of like an overall with all 3 kits, I do think we've won it this season. We've got our home kit is just
your kit's playing into my head into the background, Chelsea. I think it's because I'm like, I'm looking at your kit now. Let's have a look.
So it's our away kit's based on the 1970 kit, I think. So it's the white one. It's got like red and green stripes down the middle, and our third kit is based on the 0405 black and silver kit. So in terms of an overall package, this is the first time since 2013-14 I've actually liked a Chelsea shirt.
Get a
I've not
fucking
really
sponsor
liked
on your
it.
shirt, man. It's starting to annoy me.
No, what do you mean? That's
Even
old
though it
school,
looks
mate.
nice.
Oh,
No, I
There's
There's
don't.
no sponsor on the shirt still.
Still no sponsor.
It just
Is
looks
there
like
an explanation for that?
No, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
it generally
I
looks
think
like it looks incomplete. So I know it sounds weird,
Yeah.
like bring capitalism to the
Although,
fore. But it just feels
although,
weird.
do you know what? I see Arsenal's away kit now, the one we played United in, and I'm like, look, if you took the sponsors off that, I'm buying a couple.
Yeah.
I would wear it. I don't want all the
Yeah,
stuff
I mean, it's the
on
fly
it.
better below it as well. Unfortunately, that really cheapens it, doesn't it? The big old fly.
Fly and visit, and just I don't want any of that.
Yeah,
but
it's when there's descriptive
it-
words and sentences on your shirt. Like, I understand the logo, but it's like, have a nice time in this place.
Stop
Like,
telling me
no!
what to do.
Leave a review on fucking TripAdvisor,
Yeah.
like something. Like, no, like,
Eat here, visit this,
Yeah.
fly that. Like,
scan
leave me
this
alone.
QR code to check out our menu. Let's just wander around doing that sort of stuff.
fly better.
I
Slogans
genuinely
on
think.
shirts now.
So, I mean, speaking of, right, I think I should put this forward. Like, if there are any Sunday League teams out there that want a shirt sponsor,
Louis paying for it because I'm not. So
so we'll buy them a pint. That's what we do. Stick us on the front of your shirt, and then we'll describe what we are underneath, but it'll be a lot more writing. So it'll be FRESCO.
FRESCO.
Football,
Construct-
this,
Confused.
all this sort of stuff all the time. Yeah, if anyone wants to do it, just give us a shout. We'll have a conversation. We'll pay for it in Twiglets. I don't know. We'll figure something
Fresco,
out.
out of ideas.
Speaking of out of ideas, we probably should wrap it there today, gents. It's been a great show. If you are new around here, please make sure you give us a like down below as well. Make sure you subscribe as well. Follow
Most
everyone's
importantly.
channels. Most importantly, subscribe. Hit
Yeah.
that bell. Tickle the bell in some cases. You never know. And then obviously leave a comment on all the stuff, and especially about Kai Havertz. What stage of grief are you in? Thank you very much for watching, guys, and we'll see you later. Ta-da.